Welcome back to this edition of Cardinal Clips, and we're here with Andrea Lentz, our second inductee to the Cardinal Pride Hall of Fame. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here today.
As you look back on your high school career, you were really an accomplished runner. Do you still run?
I do still run. I don't run nearly as far or as fast or as often as I used to, but I'm happy to get out there and do it when I'm able to. I actually did just run a 5K last weekend, and it was a women's only event, which was really fun. And I, by chance, I like to say, but I placed first in my age group, so that was really fun for me.
So I have to ask, were you at the bottom of the age group or at the middle of the?
I actually am a little towards the top, like the younger end of the age group. So
That's really good. That must have made you feel almost like coming in second in the Big Ten championship.
It did. You know, it's just nice to have that accomplishment every now and then, even still now. So it was a fun race, and it was a surprise to me because I was 22nd overall. So I kind of figured that was good in and of itself, and I wasn't really expecting more. So it was quite a surprise when I went and heard that I had won my age group.
So as you look back, you're a 12-time letter winner for the Willmar Cardinals. You were top 5 in the Central Lakes Conference and Region 2A meets 5 years in a row. You must have started running varsity when you were a freshman or an 8th grader.
Actually, I started when I was a 7th grader, and I was just 12 years old. I ran my very first varsity cross-country race at the Willmar Invitational. I had run a few junior high races, and I had done really well, and I know that it must have been a very difficult decision for my coach to make, but my times said that I was good enough to run varsity, and he decided that my debut would be at the Willmar Invitational. And I think I ended up placing very well there. I think I ran 3rd on the team. There were 2 other girls on the team who ran faster than I did, but I was 3rd on the team. I'm sure it was a difficult decision for him because I took the place of an upperclassman, but in cross country it gets down to time, and you want the best team out there, and it happened to be me at the time, so me as part of it.
So what do you remember the most about high school?
I remember about high school, just the support that the teachers had for the students and the student athletes, and the fact that the teachers always had an open door policy. They were very willing to come in early or stay late to help you if you needed extra help. I remember the huge amount of team spirit that everybody had for all the sports. I myself in the winter would attend many different other sporting events, and I know that there were many people who would attend the track meets. Cross-country meets, not entirely so much, not the most popular sport to attend, but at the track meets there were other students there cheering us on, and I just remember a tremendous amount of pride for Willmar.
Now you ran cross-country. What did you run in track on the track team?
Everything. I ran mainly the mile and the 2 mile, but then I also ran the 800, and that also then meant that I ran the 4x800 relay, and I also ran the 400. Not necessarily, I ran it a couple times as an open event, but I would run the 4x400 meter relay. I actually would sometimes race the 2 mile and then turn around and run the 4x400 meter relay. And I even had to anchor it sometimes. So that's, like I said, I pretty much ran every distance event, and then sometimes the 400 also.
You were a tired girl at the end of the night then, weren't you?
I really was. And they had limits as to what you could run, though. So you could only run 2 events that were 800 meters or longer. So then I would often run 3 events. So I would run a 400 meter event and then 2 events that were 800 meters or farther.
Andrea, as you look back at high school, are there any fond memories you have of teammates and enjoyable times you had as you look back?
Absolutely. Of course, in cross country, it's a really tight-knit group of girls that you run with, because you're all doing the same thing. You're all running the same event over the same course, and you're working together as a team to achieve that team accomplishment in the end of going to state or placing well at conference or even at an invitational. So the teammates that I recall are the ones that I was able to travel to state with. So that would be Sarah Berg, who was a wonderful upperclassman and a great leader for me, Leah Critchfield, Amanda Nelson, who I graduated with also, and then there was my sister, actually, Erin Lentz, and then Lynn Johnson and Laura Morsetter. We were the very first cross-country team to qualify to run in the state meet. Those girls were. And then in the 4x800 meter relay, my senior year, I was able to qualify for state along with Jodine and Sarah Nagan and Tanya Jorgensen. So those are other teammates. We became very close in that season of trying to break the school record and trying to run fast enough to get to state. And we ended up qualifying by time, not by place. So they were great teammates. So.
And I have to ask, when you got to the state, how did you do?
When we got to state, well, the very first state meet that I ran with as a team was cross country my freshman year. And that was the snowstorm meet. Basically, we arrived and there was snow. And there was a lot of snow, as happens in Minnesota. And myself and Sarah Berg were the only two who had spikes to run in. And we had entered the meet with a goal of, let's beat one team. We beat one team, but I did medal at that meet, so that was exciting, and we were very happy to be there and to beat one team, and we did as best as we could on that day given the conditions. So in my junior year, we qualified again as a team to run in the state cross country meet, and that year we had great success. We were 7th place overall, and I was 6th as an individual. So that was a very fun accomplishment. It's fun to have individual accomplishments, but it's really fun also to be there as a team and do really well.
After high school, the University of Minnesota were you ready for that after running in Willmar, or was it kind of a surprise?
A little of both, I would say. I do have to say that I think that I had the talent, and I had done my homework kind of, but I really didn't know what I was getting into. I was offered a scholarship, and I trusted that that was a sign that I was good enough to be there and be an athlete there. But my first trimester, we were on trimesters back then, I was in way over my head. I quickly realized I was one of many girls on the team who had been the outstanding athlete on their high school team. And I foolishly decided to take 18 credits, including an honors course. And so I struggled, I really did. But I also came in there knowing that I wanted success both as an athlete and academically at the U. I wanted to continue the success that I had had here in Willmar. And so I figured out what I needed to do, and I got it done. So I didn't let it stop me. I didn't throw in the towel at that time. I got in the weight room more. I adjusted my mileage like I needed to, and I realized that it was my job to be a student and to be an athlete, and if there were other things in between that I could fit in, that was great, but ultimately, that is what I was. So, and it worked for me. I went on to have a respectable academic and running career at the U.
Indoor track all-time top 10 performers list, that's big time. That is big time. How's that feel? I mean, Willmar, in the grand scheme of things, is a relatively small district. To go compete at that level, I mean, that's the elite level, isn't it? And to be able to compete at that level and be successful.
It is. It was pretty amazing to me to suddenly come to the realization that I can do this. I'm here. I've done my homework. I'm meant to be here. I can run with these girls who are really outstanding Division I athletes, and I may not win, but I'm here and I'm in it. Mm-hmm. So it was a really good feeling. And Coach Wilson did a really good job of he does a great job of knowing each individual athlete and exactly what sort of training plan you need in order to run your very best.
Well, running is so isolated. I mean, it's an individual, solo kind of a thing, isn't it? I mean, I know you're part of a team, but it really is, that fire has to come from within you to a certain extent, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it really does. And one of the things that Coach Wilson also taught me was doing visualization, and I just remember him saying, you need to tell yourself, I am strong, I am tough, I am confident, and that's something that I still use today. And you really do need to have that desire within you to do your very best and to chase after those other girls that are ahead of you. And if you don't have it, you're not going to be successful. But if you do, and you do your homework on the track and your practices, and on the cross-country course and your practices, you're going to achieve your best.
Your bio says that you won 16 high school cross-country races. And I have to admit, that's a lot of W's for a young lady, and you started running cross-country at the varsity level when you were a 7th grader. As you look back on that, how does that achievement feel to you?